What up, what up, what up, what up? I am Ugly Money Nietzsche, and welcome to yet another episode of the Ugly Money Podcast, and my special guest of the evening. And special indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, from the hit TV show or documentary series or whatever they call these things these days, 60 Days In. She also owns a production company. We're going to get into a lot of different things. And she's just a beautiful black queen all around. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, show your love for the drama queen herself, Miss Shanese. How you doing?
I am awesome.
You gonna talk in that mic so we can hear you?
Yes, I'm awesome.
We're gonna get to it today.
All right, let's do it.
So, let's go back. Who was, before the shows and before the drama? Who is Shanese? Talk to me.
Shanese is an educator. Shanese is a creator, a poet, a writer, a director, a producer, a fighter for the people, the underdog. So before I moved to Atlanta, I ran an alternative school for youth 17 to 20 years old. And actually got that job without even applying. Wow. So love just helping the underdog.
So where did you get the love of just, of youth and inspiring and helping people? I've
always had it, but probably about 12 years ago, I found out that I could not have children.
Wow.
And so I decided that I wanted to give back in a different way. And so I left my job and I took a $30,000 pay cut to go into education, to not only, I used to hear people say stuff like, these youth are crazy and they're this, and it's like, well, are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? Exactly. And so I wanted to be part of the solution, and so therefore I just wanted to help people. I know I struggled when I was growing up with bullying and different things, and so I said I wanted to help and alleviate some people from going through the same things that I went through.
Yeah, now $30,000 pay cut, that's a cut.
It is.
And that's stepping out on faith.
It is. My best friend told me, she said, Shanice, you've been tiptoeing on faith. Ooh. And now it's time for you to step all the way on faith. And so I decided to do that. So it was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, because, a lot of us, we get I guess comfortable in our positions and our jobs and everything like that. But I would imagine that you believe that making a difference and being happy with the occupation that you're in is more important than the money.
I definitely believe that, because when I took that $30,000 pay cut, because I stepped out on faith, within 3 months I was able to make that back up. I took a pay cut and I was a paraprofessional. Wow. Because my degree is not in education. But I was able, in 3 months, I was able to get a full-time teaching position and make that up. So if you step out on faith and you leave it up to God, he'll work out the rest.
Amen to that, sister. Amen. Look, I like that. You know what I'm saying? She done took a $30,000 pay cut on y'all to help y'all look bad. No, I'm just playing. I just play. You know what? But I think it's important for us as brothers and sisters to have us and have our youth. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I think so often, of course, the rest of the world is counting them out, but we can't count them out either. Because we all we got. You know
Definitely.
What I'm saying? And so these young brothers and sisters grow up to be men and women, and if nobody's ever taken the time to try to mold them, try to guide them and direct them in the right area. Well, of course you're gonna be, succumb to your circumstances.
Definitely.
And things of that nature. So salute to you for that, Queen. Salute to you for that, and I know God is continuing to bless you.
Definitely.
For it abundantly, because you heal, so you're a big deal.
Oh,
I've been waiting on this one. I've been waiting on this one. Now, I ain't gonna lie. It was one. Let me see. It was about 3 weeks ago. I get on Netflix. I'm just scrolling through my channels, and I'm over here, and I done heard about the Squid Game. I had watched that, and Kevin Hart had some new movie I had watched that. And I was like, well, this 60 days, and oh yeah, these folk in the jail. I was like, man, let me go on, click this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, these folk ain't in jail, but they going to jail.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, first of all, getting on the show initially.
So initially, around 2018, I came to Atlanta to take the Tasha Smith acting workshop. And after I did that, I decided that I was going to move to Atlanta and start just applying for different casting positions and jobs and everything. And so I saw this casting call that was like, do you have a great personality? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. Yeah. And so I applied. And so I looked at the production company and I started Googling, you know, other shows that they were responsible for. And I saw this show and I thought that's what the show was for. It was called Undercover High. So I'm like, I'm an educator. People tell me I look young. You know, do you have to have a great personality? Sure. Yeah. Until I got that call and they told me that it was to volunteer to go to jail.
Hold on.
Things changed. Yeah.
So the show premise was to volunteer to go to jail.
Yeah. It was to volunteer. One thing that I've tried my whole life to avoid doing.
Yeah.
I voluntarily did it like a fool, and I'm a fan of the show, and I would watch it, and I would
like
say,
a fool.
For real, because I would watch the show, and I would say, what idiot, and especially what black person would volunteer to put themselves in a situation to go to jail?
You know, we
Just saying.
We always rooting for you. We always rooting for you. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm watching the joint, I'm like, oh yeah, she gonna thug it out. She gonna come in there. She gonna have this whoop whoop going on. This whoop. She gonna end up being like Meech in the jailhouse. So let's get into that whole 60 days in process. So what do the celiac?
Okay.
That condition. That was an issue for you.
Correct.
So them folks just didn't want to give you the food.
Well,
what was up with the food?
So let me be clear about something, because this has been a misconception. The production company, A&E, the sheriff, everybody knew that I had celiac before I even stepped foot into the jail. Yes, ma'am. That was one of the reasons I decided to do it. If I didn't have celiac, I would not have volunteered, because I wouldn't have had a purpose and a mission. They could not treat me like I was on the show.
Come on.
So therefore, when I came in, I had to be processed like a regular inmate, which means it could take a week and a half for that process to go through to get me, gluten-free food. Wow. And so the problem there was, the sheriff told me, Shanese, this is the South. We don't eat gluten-free. So they didn't even know what it was, because the people that made the food were the inmates.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't know. So they were aware. I do believe that to make the show more interesting and to try to make me appear like something that I'm not, we talk about protect black women.
Exactly.
I think that they used the opportunity that they could have used to educate and empower. I think they did a subpar job to, they took the sucker route to
trying
make
to twist the narrative.
Definitely.
No, I saw that because, movie magic is one thing. They record you all day long, but they want to get that clip where you got down, have to show your color or whatever, and they try to twist that narrative. So what do you say to the people that say, oh, well, all she does is complain?
Sure. So I put something. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
I
put something.
We're gonna set the record straight to here today. She got her notes and everything. Stop playing with her.
No, not notes. But one of the things that I put, because this changed the way I look at different shows. So something I put on my Instagram is season 6 of 60 Days In taped for at least 11 months with multiple cameras in the jail. If one camera had at least 7,920 hours, I'm an educator, so that's 30 days times 11 months, which equals 330 times 24 of footage on it. The show only showed about 11.5 hours.
Wow.
So that means you saw less than 1% of the things that happened. One of the things that I did on purpose was I went in with my hair straight, because I have natural hair. Exactly. And in the middle of the process, I made my hair curly. When I would watch it, I would say, how in the hell am I going to have straight hair and curly hair in the same scene? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you doing that?
They don't piece that thing together.
There you go. And then, at the end of the show, I had already left, but then they showed me in a church scene. So what I would say is, the thing about it, what I've learned about reality TV and docuseries is, when they look at you, they typecast you. And they say, okay, you're going to be the athletic, cocky one. AKA Dennis.
Exactly.
You're gonna be the Christian girl, the pretty girl, AKA Jennifer. You're gonna be the Captain Saberho, AKA Ashley, and I love Ashley.
Shout out to Ashley.
And here we go. We're gonna have the complainers. So the thing is, this is the thing I want people to think about. I was in jail. If I complained every single day, I would have got my ass beat in jail.
Facts.
But instead, the inmates were going around collecting oranges and apples for me when my feet swole up. They were massaging my feet. They were collecting things for me. So if I was that much of a complainer, why in the hell the only issues that I had were the people that were participating that knew when I walked in that I had that? Exactly. So it's reality is they want to paint a certain picture. So the footage that they're gonna show is only gonna paint that picture. My issue with celiac, why didn't they show when I got commissary?
Wow.
I got commissary in 9 days. Why didn't they show when Angel, who was the pod boss, got me hooked up with some commissary that I got shipped in from another state?
Come on.
Why didn't they show that? If I was so much of a complainer, I wouldn't have got the information that I got by being in there in the relationships. I wouldn't have had a relationship with Angel. Angel wouldn't have asked me to piss for her, because if I'm such a complainer, it would have been like, well, dang, I don't want her to pee for me because she gonna go complain and she gonna go say something and then I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not reality.
What are some things that happened during the show that people didn't get to see on television that made, the things that the other 99% of the things that went down during the show? What are some things that the TV didn't show?
So initially, when I went on the show, they tell us don't click up. Don't click up with the other people because it looks obvious. But if you're in jail and you don't know nobody and they looking at you like, oh, you got all your teeth, you don't belong here. Where are you from? And so naturally, I kind of clicked up with them at first, but then I kind of backed off because we got confronted several times. It was one time I had a lady, actually, she was like, this is the 60 Days In crew. And I had to think back to my Tasha Smith acting class, and I'm like, I don't want to go too hard, but I don't want to go too soft because I don't want them to continue to say this. And so when I snapped off on her, they called me Missouri. She's like, Missouri, I'm sorry. So they didn't show those relationships. I had a twerking contest in jail.
What?
I hosted the twerking contest.
Oh man, they should have read that right there. We would have wanted to see that. A few of y'all I wouldn't want to see, but it was a couple. It was about one or two maybe. But so you had a twerk contest and all?
We did. We had a twerk contest. I also had the craziest chick contest. This one girl, we were looking at the tattoos, and it was on Mother's Day. She had a tattoo, and it was of a cut on her leg with blood dripping down. And I said, oh, baby, you win the craziest award. Like, who does that?
Yeah, crazy. No, speaking of crazy, I know you saw some crazy things.
Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, going back to the pissing for Angel and all the things, like, what are some of the craziest things that you saw other than your roommate being on crack?
Yeah.
You had to pee in for a girl because she was on drugs right before she got out. What are some of the crazy things that happened that you got to see there?
Well, I never had been around anyone going through withdrawal, so I've learned that chocolate helps them get through that. That was interesting. I never would have imagined that a correctional officer, Miss Williams,
gonna put a name on it.
That literally she would go up to inmates and, can I curse on here?
Go ahead.
Okay, she would go up to inmates and be like, oh, your weave is fucked up.
Oh, wow.
And that's why you don't have no money on your books. Don't nobody love you. Like, it's not something that somebody told me. I saw it with my own eyes. I never thought that I would see a correctional officer go so hard on an inmate. For me, she didn't come at me that way, but I was strong enough to handle it. But what about those that are not? There's no mental health. It's a lot of bullying in jail. It's a lot of, oh God, I just remember, it's a lot of sex. Like when I found out, I had it in so much, I found out how they made dildos in jail. Like that's how good I was in. Yes.
You say, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Get the scrap. They got scraps in jail.
They do.
In a minute or less, can you tell us how they make scraps in jail?
Sure. What you do is you order some summer sausage, so you get a cucumber, you get the gloves, you have 5 fingers, you do the whatever the cucumber or the thing is in the middle. You use these 2 to tie on this side, you use these 2 to tie that side, and you put it on and do your business.
Did you get that shot? Did you get that? World Star, did you get that? Shade Room, baller alert. Get the scrap, 50 Cent. 50 Cent, did you get that?
Oh my God.
So it's the cucumber love.
The cucumber. I ordered some summer sausage that came in, and everybody was like, ooh. They was like, what kind is? And I'm thinking they want to eat it. And they like, are you going to eat it? I'm like, well, that's why I ordered it. They were trying to like barter to get my because it was probably about that long and about that thick. So they was trying to barter. Yeah.
They was trying to fuck the summer sausage. Okay, well, I guess you get your rocks off any kind of way you can get your rocks off or whatever. So it's a lot of things that go down on in jail that people don't. Well, obviously not on TV.
Yeah.
But they get it in.
Oh my God, yes. It's there are some girls that are there that are, like they say, gay for the stay. They want the companionship. They want them. Some of them like the mother. Like I played the motherly role for some of them. So it's like everybody in jail kind of plays their role. You can stick by yourself, or you can play that role. For me, I wanted to go in because I can't have children. I wanted to go in and mentor the pregnant, because there was a lot of pregnant women there that were there for drugs. And so my role was kind of that motherly, but yeah, everybody played their role, honey. But you wouldn't know that if you watch 60 Days.
I wouldn't know that.
You wouldn't know that.
Goddamn, find out some of y'all were busting it open in that thing, goddamn. What's the one? Never mind. I ain't gonna say no name.
Don't say no name.
I'm gonna leave it alone. We don't want it. Your baby dad gonna be mad as fuck, boy. That sausage fuck the shit out you. Oh my God, they fucking the sausage. Okay, you learn something new every day. Was there ever a point in time during your stay there that you were scared for your life?
Actually, when I walked in, again, being a trained actress, you have to get in different zones, and I got in that zone, and then when you hear that, I was like, oh shit.
This shit real.
Yeah, I was like, this gets real. And then what happened is I was sitting at the table, I was getting booked. You know how you feel somebody's looking at you, and so this chick is looking at me, so I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I'm at the fight already. So I'm looking at her, she looking at me, I'm looking at her, she looking at me. So by the time I go back to the room, I'm like, how is it in there? And she's like, girl, it's horrible. I found a tooth in my mashed potatoes. And I was like, excuse me? She was like, I found a tooth in my mashed potatoes, so just be careful. So at that point, I started to be like Jacob and just say, you know what, I'm going to tap out and intake because I can't do this right now. A tooth in the mouth. Yeah, at that point, and then something that they didn't show, and I've been doing my YouTube videos, is why I really left when I was having my issues. I had got word because of my relationships that they knew that Jennifer was on 60 Days In from the maintenance supervisor.
Oh, wow.
He had told, one of his trustees that told somebody that I knew, then they told me, and they pulled me to the side like, hey, she about to get her ass kicked, so you might want to back up. And so I knew that I couldn't go say anything to Jennifer because they're going to see me talking to her and they don't know. Exactly. So I said it to Ashley. Well, what Jennifer did, which was stupid, was in less than 24 hours, she went in and addressed it, said the same exact thing. So then I have my roommate, which I know you've seen my roommate. She's not a small girl. Nah. She was in there for beating up a police officer.
Yeah, she looked like,
Yeah, so she's about that life. So when she comes up to me and she's like, I think it's funny that within 24 hours of me telling you this gets back. What's up? Because people looking at you like you a snitch. So when y'all heard me say, I will blow all this shit up.
Yeah.
It was because, my feet were swollen. And I had heart palpitations.
You got to be able to move around.
Gotta be able to move around. I didn't know I wasn't going to be able to do that. So that was a moment because right after then, I had some other people kind of coming up and like kind of testing me and kind of looking like, we don't know if we trust you or not. And it was just a situation where I was like, I got to get out of here because I don't know what's about to happen.
Wow.
So yeah, those were kind of the times I was like, I got to go.
Is there any camaraderie in jail?
There is. I did not expect it. Actually, when I got home, I actually missed the inmates.
Wow.
You know, especially my roommate, one of the things that when I first met her, oh my God, Jesus, she was very intimidating. But she said she kicked out all her other roommates. One of the things I learned is she loved to play cards.
Okay.
I love to play cards. It was one time that I wish they would have showed. She was about to get in a fight with somebody. And I jumped in, and she was about to lose her child. And so I'm like, dude, you can't do this stupid shit. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to lose your child. And she got mad at me. So then we was about to fight. And so then it's like, dude, let's play cards. Let's chill. Let's have some fun. I mean, we would talk mess to each other. Yeah. It was the actual inmates that are the ones that told me that my feet were swollen because I had heart issues, which I never had heart issues. Wow. But if you can see, I have a cut on my neck because while I was in jail, when I was developing those symptoms, I was developing Graves' disease, which caused me to have heart issues, which I just had surgery less than a month ago.
Wow.
So people think that, oh, Shanese just made up this disease to be on TV. I don't have to make up anything to be on TV. I've been on TV before.
Facts.
This isn't the only thing I've done. It won't be the only thing that I do. So it's just, you think that these are freaking criminals. But first of all, everybody that is in jail is not a criminal.
Okay, talk about it.
They're not, you know, it's some of the people that are there for financial. I had a ticket, I forgot to pay. I can't pay it. You know what I'm saying?
I've been there before.
Yeah, and you're in there and you're subjected to mental abuse. You know, for me, it was, you know, celiac is covered under the American Disability Act because of things like jail, universities, your job. So, yeah, it's...
It's tough.
It is. It's very tough, and it's... To see the things that I saw, that people... There was a young lady that had a seizure. If you have seizures, you're not supposed to be on the top bunk. But they didn't ask her. She was on the top bunk, fell, had a seizure, and I just saw them kind of lollygagging like, well, let's go. Let's see if this dramatic person had a seizure. Like, literally. Everything was a hassle. It was always a hassle. And to see that, I'm glad I did it because now it's making me more of an advocate for those that are in the criminal justice system, because there was a woman, we have due process. There was a woman that was in the Etowah County Detention Center for 10 years. You're not supposed to be in jail for 10 years. You're supposed to be transitioned to prison or out. She was in that jail for 10 years. I sat and had a conversation with her. She was in there because she was accused of killing her father with her boyfriend for insurance. And it's so weird because we were talking and I start talking about Crown Royal Apple. And she was like, ooh, I've never had that. Like they didn't have that when I was out. And you know, the stuff you take for granted. Yeah, you take that stuff for granted. But even if she did do that, she's having some mental issues and there's no mental nothing in the jail. So she's just wasted 10 years. You know, it's people that, you know, they need, and this is sad to say, but I was told that they need the structure. They like coming to jail because they need the structure. They know at this time I'm going to have breakfast. At this time I'm going to have lunch. This time I'm going to have dinner. This time I'm going to shower. This is the day I need to have money on my books to place my order. They need that structure. So I was trying to talk to them about creating the structure yourself. Don't do it in an institutionalized way. You know, create it yourself. So there was a lot of mentoring that happened that wasn't shown that I wish they would have shown.
No, facts.
So,
that's crazy. Now, COs. You know, we've had a lot of rappers that have been incarcerated. You know, we kind of rocking the entertainment industry from Boosie to Meek Mill. And they all say that in the correctional facilities, the COs are nasty. Are they as horrible as people think? Are COs as bad as people say they are?
So let me do the devil's advocate first. Okay. Not all of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to give, I can't say her name because she didn't consent, but there was one that, CO, that I absolutely, positively loved. She went out of her way to make sure that we were comfortable. And guess what the people did? They ran over. They were disrespectful.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, COs there are some that are good. There are some that they had a bad day and they get off behind coming to work and going off on people.
Wow.
Miss Williams was one. I mean, literally, I felt like if she was a man, I felt like she got a hard on by being that mean, by just the stuff that she would say. I would say if I had to assess a percent, I would say about 20 to 30% of the COs are good.
Okay.
and then the rest are horrible. I mean, I had some great opportunities and conversations. I've talked to some of the CEOs since I've been out.
Yeah.
You know, me and my complaining ways, and I've talked to some of the CEOs and I've talked to some of the inmates.
Yeah.
There were some that really, really tried to go above and beyond. They wanted to be there because they knew that there were bad CEOs, and they wanted to be that person that was there to help, you know, people get through their time, because it's difficult. I mean, I was there, and that was one of the most difficult things, to be away from your family, I was gone during 2 holidays.
Wow.
So to just do that, you want those CEOs to be supportive, but then you have others that feel like you're a freaking criminal. If you don't want to be here and you don't want this treatment, then you shouldn't have did that. But if there's innocent people in prison,
Exactly.
there has to be innocent people in jail. It has to be.
No, facts.
But nobody wants to hear that.
No. Well, shout out to the good CEOs, I guess. And yeah, no, I just always wonder that, you know what I'm saying? You hear people like, man, them CEOs so nasty, and they do you dirty and stuff like that, and they just, you know, some of them try to set you up. I mean, you hear horror stories from people that have, you know, been in the prison system or whatever, in the jail system or whatever. So, you know, I just wanted some clarity on that. Now, do you keep in contact? Have you kept in contact with anybody? Like you said before, like some of the inmates or whatever. Like, do you keep in contact with your roommate? Have you kept in contact? Have you talked to her?
I have not. I've been looking for her. Unfortunately, through my research, she's been in and out of the system.
Oh, wow.
I've been in touch with Ashley's roommate, because every time she would buy a Starburst before I got my commissary, she would give me all the red, the yellow, and the orange. So, because she was like, I know you want something sweet.
Yeah.
So I've talked to her. I've talked to, of course, some of the participants. Vanessa came down here and we hung out a couple times. Tony lives down here, so Tony and I have hung out.
Tony was a beast.
Yeah, Tony is a nut. Dennis has come down here and we've hung out a couple times. I've talked to Ashley. I've been on her YouTube. She's getting ready to come on my YouTube. I have no interest in talking to Jennifer. Just saying, I have no interest. But yeah, I've talked to a couple of the CEOs. I want to talk to Tiffany, but I've heard some stuff. I wish that when she got out of jail, she would have stayed out of jail.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, she was back in the jail when the show aired. You heard me. So there were some complications that were had because she was there. I can only imagine.
So she was on the show, and then the show airs, and she's back in the jail.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be.
That was a huge problem. So, yeah, I still want to reach out to her, but I don't. It's a little touchy because of I don't know. I just want the best for her. I want her to stay out of jail.
We're praying for you, big dog. We're praying for you, big dog.
Yes.
Angel got that piss and gone. Angel got that piss and went the hell on, I guess.
She did. She went back too, but hey, it is what it is.
Oh, man. Why do you think you know, just being around, you know, rehabilitation and being in the correctional facility for the time that you were there, why do you think people continue to go back? What can be done to stop the same repetitive nature? So
there is really no training or anything to do while you're in there. So if you're pregnant, they have all these classes that you can take, mothering class, drug classes. But if you're not, there's nothing for you to do while you're in there. Like everything that if I wasn't together and, you know, didn't know what I was doing in my purpose, I would have been screwed up when I got out of there just by the things that I saw. But I think that it's just they get comfortable with that lifestyle of being in there. Like we talked about, they have their schedules out for them. I think some of them get cocky and think that they're not going to get caught, or, you know, that they have relationships, because there are, in a little town like in Gadsden, Alabama, everybody knows everybody. Mm-hmm. And so there were people in there that knew different people. And then here's the thing, here's the kicker. Some people got paid to go to jail. So it's like, hey, we got to get these drugs in the jail. So you know what you got, and you know where we can put the drugs. And so we going to pay you this amount. So we need you to do a crime so you can get in here and get the drugs in there. Seen it every day. It would be people that would come in and you would hear them like, ah! And I'm like, why are y'all celebrating? And it's like, because we know we have drugs. We know that they brought in tobacco. And so
that's big business out here.
It is. So I think it's just different. Mental health. I think a lot of people are homeless and they don't have a place to lay their head. They don't know where they're going to eat, how they're going to eat, any of that. And so they are provided that. For me, I eat shrimp, lobster, and crab legs. So that food does nothing for me. But if you're on the street and you're trying to fend for yourself, I can see how that could be good food. Like, exactly. People were... They were wanting, I fed a lot of people, and that was the thing.
In the cot.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like with me, I fed a lot of people. They didn't show that. I would use my commissary. My roommate and I actually got into a bad argument about that because she was like, "Why are you using your commissary money?" Well, what she didn't know was the show put money on my books every single week, and I had family that put money on my books. So if I see you struggling, I'm here to make a difference. Yeah. So whatever that looks like, I'm gonna do it, whether they show it or not. I did it, and I know I did it, and they know I did it.
What is the biggest lesson that you've learned from your experience?
My biggest lesson is about judgment and judging people by their past mistakes. I have been to jail before volunteering to go to jail. I have done things in my life where I remember when I was in Orlando, Florida, working at Disney World in 2001, and I did something and got a call like, you got to get this situated in 24 hours or we're going to come pick you up. Oh, wow. So I am just a blessing away from being in jail. So I really judged people when I went in there, and I had that attitude like, well, I mean, you complaining, you did the crime, but it's not about that. It's about getting to the root cause of why people continue to do the same things that they're doing. If somebody's angry, I'm gonna give you an example. I talked about this on Ashley's YouTube. There was a girl, I cannot think of her name right now, but she used to go off on everybody. So I told my roommate, I said, I want to talk to her. And she's like, don't talk to her, don't talk to her. So one day she comes down the steps and she's like, I hear all y'all bitches talking about me. Who want to fight me? Who want to fight me? And so God told me that was my time to talk to her. Wow. And I cannot think of her name. It's on the Annette. Mm-hmm. So I looked up at Annette. Annette is about my roommate's size. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, Annette, good morning. How are you doing today? It brought her down. She went in her room. They were able to close the door. And it was just like, when you have mental people that are there, we were on lockdown 23 hours a day.
Wow.
And if you are on lockdown, you only get out 30 minutes a day. And that's the shower. We ate in our rooms. Mm. I stopped taking showers after a week because the showers was a hot, nasty mess. So we did everything in a room. So when you're mental and you're in a room and you're just there and you don't have anybody to talk to, it's just, people go crazy.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's sad.
I can imagine. I mean, ooh, I can only imagine. Most I've been to jail for a weekend, and nigga, I was in that motherfucker for like, I felt like I got down, was locked in that bitch for years. I was like, I can't do this shit, bro. This shit.
One day is 1 year.
It be boring. It just, jail boring as shit.
Yeah, you know what? No, I will tell you this. For me, because I'm a solo person, I did not get bored in jail.
Really?
I did not get bored. With my roommate, we would play cards, and she had a Walkman, so she would turn it up, and we would put the earphones on the table, and we would have a little party. I wrote a lot. Yeah. I'm a writer, so I wrote a lot of poetry. I started thinking about, I knew I was getting ready to move here, so I just started thinking. I didn't have time to be bored. I read a lot of books.
Okay.
Read the Bible. I did a lot.
How much contraband come into the jail?
Oh, geez.
My homeboy used to tell me, he said, man, I done got me a job. And the only reason I go on the job is to bring in contraband.
Yeah. Prior to going to jail, the only thing that I really had been around or knew anything about was marijuana. That's it. Oh, my God. There's heroin in there. There's heroin. There's cocaine. There's crack. There's... what is they call the clone is what they call the synthetic weed there. The weapons that come in, and I mean, you would see some of the weapons. Like, I needed to cut my summer sausage one time, and I went to Angel, who is to Lizzie, which is Angel's girlfriend. I was like, hey, can I borrow your knife? And it was a plastic knife, but it's still, it got there. Yeah. Somebody gave it to her. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had hot sauce. Sometimes you'll see them eating fried chicken. you would see the maintenance workers, because the male maintenance workers would come and bring all kind of contraband. I mean, I seen more in jail than I have on the streets, and it's ridiculous. It's the drugs was the scariest thing. They say it's more drugs in jail than it is out, and I was just like, what? And I never, like, when my roommate was going through heroin withdrawals, I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Like, she tweaking and she getting up and screaming and talking about, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, sister, you all right?
Yeah, no, she won't.
Yeah.
She won't. So, 60 days in is over. What is next?
So what is next is I started a production company called Classy Creations Production Company, because I was dissatisfied with the way that they portrayed my story, and I wanted to show accurate stories about people like myself. And so starting my production company, we started our first we're going to do a 5-part docuseries about autoimmune diseases. Wow. We started the first one. I have it out on my YouTube page. So right now we're just looking for investors so we can get the funding to do it. Ideally, since A&E did not depict my story in a correct way, I have challenged them to allow me and my production company to come in and accurately show a story on how autoimmune diseases affect people in the world. So that's one of the things. Another project I'm working on is, if you remember on my show, there was, they asked me, well, do you have a doctor's note?
Yeah.
Like, who in the hell walks around with a doctor's note? So I'm working on a solution to that. I'm working on a proposal to partner with another organization, so if people do go to jail, they can have what they need. And then the other thing I'm working on is, I actually, in October, I started writing, and I have some books that are out on Amazon. So I'm writing children's books where the lead characters have different autoimmune diseases, so they can see themselves. You know, we as Black women, we want to see ourselves, and we want to see people that have hair like ours, but what about the people that have autoimmune diseases? Come on. So those are some of the big kind of projects I'm working on right now, and just working on funding to try to get some more projects. We have my production company, we started something called The Conversation, and it's a it's a web series that we're doing about different conversations. So the first one was about gun violence. What do you do if your son is in a situation and he sees something and he doesn't want to tell? Well, you know, what would you do if it was me? The next one's going to be about body positivity. We see a lot of young women going to different places and having all of these surgeries. I just read about a story where a young lady had her breast done, and now she's missing a part of her breast. So it's a conversation that's going to be had between a father and a daughter, because she sees that, you know, well, your girl is like stacked like that, I want to get like that. So just doing things, you know, one of the things that my production company we want to do is empower and educate people. And so getting things out there that do that, since A&E in the production company failed to do so.
well, Queen, I really, really, really wish you the best of luck. You don't even need no luck. I know you got this covered. You're strong. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we all are inspired by your strength, you know what I'm saying? And continue to push forward and continue to tell your story the way it really is. You feel what I'm saying? So let these folks know where to follow you at. Of course, knock that YouTube. Let these folks know where to goddamn subscribe and everything to get everything Drama Queen.
Okay, so it's Drama Queen K instead of Q, because I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Okay, shouts out my AKA.
So I had to put that in there. So Drama Queen with a K, 16. That's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you follow the YouTube. I got a lot of 60 Days In videos if you want to know the real truth and not what they show.
Already. You can follow me at Ugly Money Nietzsche. That's Ugly Money Niche. Remember, the bigger the dream, the bigger the risk, the bigger the payoff. This has been the Ugly Money Podcast with Shanese. Salute.